Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Elvis Show, where we engage in conversations and matters pertaining to the improvement and the betterment of our lives as we bring different guests to share with us their story and their insight. It is also a place and space where we marry communication with inspiration. We rise by lifting others. Warning, this is the high inspiring zone. The topic of our conversation today is New Year, New You, becoming the best version of yourself. And there is no other person, a better other person that I could invite on the show than my good friend, ASCANIO. This guy, he's a phenomenon. He's been devoted 20 of his years into personal development. He's an executive coach, an award-winning motivational speaker. In fact, when I started in my journey of personal development and a public speaking domain, I've had the privilege to be evaluated by this guy. He gave me nuggets of evaluation that really set me into direction of the person that I am becoming. Please, it is my plumb pleasure to welcome on the show ASCANIO Pignatelli. Hello, ASCANIO. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Elvis. That was without a doubt the best introduction ever.
Oh, no. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. I appreciate you all being here.
Of course. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I'm so honored to be a part of your experience here.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Now, I may have say a few things about you, ASCANIO, but could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, some of the things that you are doing?
Right now, in terms of work, pleasure, what would you like to know?
Just about anything. Who is ASCANIO, and then what are the things that he's doing in the world today?
I love it. So basically, ASCANIO is, I guess, somebody that's living by his values and doing my best to fulfill my mission, which is to inspire and empower people to be their best selves and live their best life. So every day I do things that fulfill me spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I try to basically maintain the highest energy possible so that others can be inspired, be empowered, see for themselves what life can be. And my values are a lot different than other people's values, and that's okay. I don't ever judge what people value. We are the way we are, and I accept people where they are on their path and their journey. And what I do is try to fulfill my 5 values of connection, contribution, freedom, growth, fun. So there's a lot of growth and a lot of fun in my life. And, connection, this is a part of it. And contribution, I'm here to contribute. I'm here to help your members, your tribe, live their best lives and empower and inspire them in any way, shape, or form that's going to resonate with them. So that's why I'm out here in Joshua Tree right now. I'm in my motorhome. I live a life of minimalism and just try to enjoy the things that are most important to me. And that's nature, being out in the wilderness, and doing things that really push my own limits.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing with us the person that you are and some of the things that you do. It's kind of amazing that you're living a life of minimalists when many people are trying to live a life of maximalists.
Exactly.
To write out, right? We just want to have and have more and do more and have more, but yet you're actually going to a reduction of how you can live your life. That's just inspiring. Believe me, it's very much inspiring. Now, we are starting a new year, and then there's a human tendency to set goals or resolutions in the new year. But the fact of the matter is simply that many people don't get to follow through with those resolutions. What do you think is the problem? Why is that many people don't really get to continue on the resolution that they set at the beginning of the year? And how can they do, this is the question in two different, with 2 parts, how could they do to really set on that journey to finish what they've started, to stick with the goal? So why do not keep their goals or their resolution, and how can they do to really achieve the goal that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year?
I love it. Great question, Elvis. So here's what I'd like to share with you and your audience. First of all, there's two kinds of goals. You know, everybody I'm sure is familiar with a SMART goal, you know, how to create a goal and set your course on that. But there's really two types of goals, and nobody really talks about this. This is one of my things that I've discovered in my life. There are the goals that we commit to and the goals that we don't commit to. We all have these two types of goals. Now, you might say to yourself, well, this year, I'm going to make $1 million. I did that once. That was a goal. One year I had that goal. And you know what? I probably didn't even make, I probably made like 1% of that goal because I was not committed to it.
Okay.
And I started that goal. It was a goal that I was like, that's what I think this year I want to do that. But I didn't, my values, my integrity, there was no integrity because my actions did not reflect that goal. And then there's the goals that I committed to that year. Goals, I think I set a goal of walking maybe 4 or 5 miles every single day, at least on my iPhone app, right? So it would register 4 or 5 miles, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. I had other goals, and I met all those goals because I committed to those goals. Every day I was looking, I was saying, oh, I've got 3 miles. Okay, so now I need to do 2 more miles or 6 miles or whatever. No matter what, I would always commit to that.
Okay.
And most people, they don't. They have goals, and some of them they will commit to, and some of them they don't. So the goals that people don't follow through on, those are the goals that they don't commit to. So before you even have a goal, you have to ask yourself, am I going to commit to this? And that's the moment of truth.
Okay.
That's where the rubber meets the road. And if you commit, then it's like, I'm going to do everything I can to fulfill on this goal.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, then, you know, you have to, there's really no point in doing that. So one of the things that I've learned is like, if I'm not going to commit to a goal, I'm not even going to state that goal. Literally take that goal. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds in 2021 or 21 pounds since it's 2020, that's one. And you're not going to follow through on your diet, you're not going to throw on your exercise, take that goal and throw it out the window. And look at it and ask yourself why it doesn't align with your values. So number one is you have to align it with your values. Do your values support your goal? And if they don't, money is not one of my goals. I don't, you know, for me, it was more like, I want to see if I can do it. It's crazy, right? To try and make $1 million in a year. I know a lot of people that have, and that's, you know, they work their asses off and dedicated their lives, and all their values were aligned with that.
Absolutely.
If I told you I was going to climb K2 this year, that would be a much more approachable goal than making, you know, $200,000 or $300,000 this year, because I'm not committed to that goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, I mean, what you're telling us is simply that we should follow the SMART principle. And I want to remind the audience that SMART is simply SMART. S, that stands for specific. M, that stands for measurable.
Yep.
A, that stands for attainable.
Mm-hmm.
R, that stands for relevant. And T, that stands for time bound. So we need to set the goals that can be clear, very specific, that we can measure, that we can attain, that it can be relevant, and then we can have a time limit. For instance, if we want to lose 20 pounds, we need to set the time, right? Like maybe by March 31st, I want to lose 20 pounds. So I guess that's quite specific rather than just saying I'm going to make $1 million a year, right? Because it's vague, or I want to make more money. It's vague.
No, that's very vague. That's not a goal. That's just a desire. I mean, that's not a goal. That's not clear, and it's not, you know, it's not specific.
Yes.
Make more money. I mean, what does that mean? Make more money than a janitor in I don't know, in Pakistan or something. I mean, it's not very clear. But what I want to really specify before all that, you have to ask yourself, are you going to commit to it? You can have a SMART goal that is very bulletproof. It's very specific, very measurable, very reasonable, very attainable, very timely. But if you don't commit to it, then there's no point.
There's no
It's
point.
almost better to not have a SMART goal and commit to something than to have a SMART goal and not commit to it. I was listening to a book yesterday by Alan Watts, and he mentioned this world. I think he was a Civil War historian, a general. He was an old general, and he basically said that the best plan that is half executed or executed with little fervor is not as good as a completely half-assed plan that is executed with passion and with commitment.
Wow, that's powerful right there. That's powerful, which means commitment and passion are the ingredients to achieving whatever goal that we need to set for ourselves, not just setting any vague goal. Now, when we get to that point, I read in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm not sure if you read the book. It's a very classic book.
I'm very familiar with it.
Yes, it's that if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. We're speaking in that terms of goal setting. So how could you unpack that statement? If your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. Can you unpack that for us a little bit, please?
Okay, so one of the greatest quotes, my favorite quote of all time, was the one by Henry Ford, which it was attributed to Henry Ford. There's been some discrepancies on who actually came up with the quote, but that's irrelevant. It's believe you can, believe you can't. Either way, you're right.
Absolutely.
And people have to remember that if you have any doubt in your ability, you've automatically set yourself up for failure. Doubt is the worst enemy when it comes to people's ability to fulfill on their actions. Wow. The moment somebody doubts it, they've already lost. Elvis, you probably know. I mean, you look at sport teams, you look at a boxing or any kind of fighting, and the guy that walks into the ring thinking he's going to lose the fight, he's already lost it. And the best fighters are the ones that they have absolutely zero doubt that they are the best of the best, that it's impossible for them to be beaten. So now, once in a while, they will get beaten.
Yes.
Because there's another guy who gets lucky, or, like, remember Buster Douglas when he took out Mike Tyson?
Yes, I remember. I remember this.
I mean, it was, that guy it was the first person that came along that actually was like, you know what, maybe I got a chance against this guy. Everybody else was lost before they even got in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Wow. But the guy took Tyson down.
He took Tyson down, took him 7 rounds, but he finally got the guy down. And then after that, there was people fought a lot better against Mike Tyson. Then there was Evander Holyfield, and then there was a couple other guys, and all of a sudden, Mike Tyson's not indomitable anymore.
Wow, it was like a belief system that got generated in people's mind once the person actually defeated Mike Tyson. Yeah. So, and everybody thought that, yes, I can take a shot at him too. I can take that shot. Just that system.
He had a different belief.
If you think you can or you can't, you're both right.
That's you're right.
Amazing quote right there. So now, as we enter into New Year, I try to actually tackle on this idea of the friends that we surround ourselves with. In fact, Jim Rohn, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, says, you are the average of 5 of your friends, which means if you have 4 friends who are stupid, guess who is the 5th one? It would be you. So, in the same line with the quote that birds of a feather flock together. Yeah. So, if we enter in this new year and try to become a new us, so what type of people do we need to actually surround ourselves with? The people what type of people that we can actually be around that will help us become the new us in the new year?
Great question. And to that, I would answer, the best people you can surround yourselves are the ones that believe in you and that are uplifting, that will uplift you. They're the ones that will support you with your goals. They're the ones that will dream with you. And the the ones that aren't going to sow seeds of doubt when you tell them, I'm going to run a marathon this year, and they're like, you know what, you're never going to make it. It's too hard. It's too grueling. You don't have the body shape for it. You know, you don't have the motivation. You don't have the willpower for this. There are a lot of people in life that aren't going to be happy for your success. And then there are people that are going to be supporting you and that are happy for your success. You want to surround people that believe in you and that basically your success is their success. And when you find those people, then really the sky's the limit. I mean, you've got a power team that's giving you the positive energy and that's not sowing seeds of doubt in your mind. And so then you'll be much more likely to succeed with your goals.
So
and of course, yeah. Sorry,
so
go
it's
ahead.
quite important. Yeah, it is quite important that as we engage this new year, trying to become the new us, it's important to keep that in mind, that we need to surround ourselves with the people who can inspire us, the people who can motivate us, not the naysayers, but the people who can support us in our journey. It's only the way that we can become our best selves. Yes.
Yeah, Elvis. And it's also about enrolling people in your dreams. And, you know, getting them excited about why is it that you want to run a marathon? What's that going to do for you? You know, it's because it's maybe for you, it's, or for me, it would be something like, because I never thought it would be possible. And I want to do something that I don't think is possible. And, you know, because I want to raise money for breast cancer, or I want to, you know, help the fight against AIDS, or whatever it is that you're passionate. When you share your goal with people, and don't make it about yourself. It's about what is the result? What is that result going to do for the world, for the planet, for their values? Then people get interested. They get excited. They start to dream with you. And then your dreams become their dreams. And then you've got the support. But if you want to tell people like, hey, I want to win the marathon so I can tell people I'm the best, you know, so I can be the best so people see me as the best. Then all of a sudden it's all about ego and people lose interest and they're not really inspired by that.
Oh, wow. That's really quite inspiring what you just said, to engage people in your dream, to help people, make people dream with you, even though it is your dream, but to some extent, it impacts the people around you to see that you are, in fact, it's like being a role model, right? I mean, what you're doing, it's kind of inspiring that it pulls people in to want to help support you in your pursuit of whatever that you are pursuing.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. So now, especially in this year, because in this year we want to do something different about our lives. We want to be somebody's a different person. We want to aspire to something that's greater than us. So what advice can you give many people, especially coming from the moment of the pandemic, which is a very kind of sour time for us now, with people losing lots of hope? People are kind of not so much inspired. What could you tell them? What can you tell us, or many people who are watching, you know, the idea of hope, some of the good advice as we engage in this new year, some of the things that we can actually do to get ourselves in the right track, in the right direction, for our best lives?
I think, honestly, at the end of the day, Elvis, people need to remember that better days lie ahead, and that everybody has hardship and turmoil that they have to go through in their lives. And this is, compared to what human beings have been through in the past, this is nothing. You know, I mean, even this pandemic, I mean, we look at the bubonic plague back in Europe, and, you know, when those plagues came through and wiped out like almost half the population.
Wow.
You know, wars and famines, and, you know, nowadays we have that in isolated parts of the world.
Okay.
We have more pollution, obviously, than we did back then. But I mean, think about the water that you're drinking, or that most of the planet is drinking now, compared to what it was 200 years ago or 300 years ago. Think about like the food supply, all the choices that we have, all the products, all the medicines, and all the good things that are here on this planet. We need to keep that into perspective and say, you know what, we're living in a pretty amazing time right now, despite all the crap that's going on. And I don't want, you know, take anything away from a lot of people have lost family members, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their homes, you know, and it's the worst time ever for them. And we also need to remember that, you know, life goes on, and we need to keep moving. We need to be positive, and we need to be at the cause, not at the effect of life. You know, the surrounding, the external does not impact the internal unless we allow it to. So you might lose your job, you might lose your house, but how you respond is your choice. And that's where the power is, that's where the freedom is.
Wow, that's where the power and the freedom is.
Yeah, so when things get crazy and hard, you know, you can be resilient. Just be like, that's why people mountain climb, they rock climb, they push themselves with all the extreme sports, doing things that everybody else thinks is crazy, thinks is dangerous, because that's where their power and their freedom lies. You know, they don't allow that external world to impact their internal world.
Wow. Just as you chose to live a life of minimalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you just in the last just about a few seconds or a minute, can you tell us about that life of minimalist? What really is about that type of life? What we pursue? I mean, even on the opposite side, those who want more, you know, who live a life of maximalist. So what can you tell us that philosophy of minimalist versus maximalist?
First of all, the planet as a whole is unsustainable with this mass consumption, this culture of consuming and having and owning stuff that we're obsessed with. This is something that started in I believe in the West, and sure, everybody all over the world wants more things, because in their minds, the external world, the more stuff you have, the happier you are. But it's actually the opposite. People are constantly having to deal with their things, their homes, the bigger the homes, they buy airplanes, they've got more problems. And they think that all these new toys, all these new materialistic possessions will make them happier. But what they find is that they're just constantly in that chase to buy more, to have more, so that they can die with the most toys. And that in their game, that's who's winning. But again, it's not the external world that impacts the internal world. It's that being at cause, coming from an internal. The locus of control needs to be internal, not external. Because then you can start by being happy, and then you can look around and say, what do you really need in life? Well, what's the most important thing? Friends, you know, social connections, your family, you know, doing the things that you love to do. It's amazing to me how much money people have, and yet they work so hard so that they can keep making more money, so that one day maybe they're going to retire, so that they can then enjoy their lives. It's like, why not do the other way around? Why not enjoy your life now, and then so everything else will fall into place?
Wow, that's just amazing what you just said about the life of minimalists, because we have the natural tendency to have more in life, to just possess more, acquire even more. Then we find ourselves in that eternal pursuit of always wanting more, even though we could never get enough. You know, because in the end, we want to be happy as we start to accumulate more. So thank you so much, ASCANIO, for this intervention. We are the end of our show. The only thing I'm going to ask you now is if anyone wants to find out about ASCANIO Pignatelli, where can people really find you?
I think the easiest place is on LinkedIn. Or on if they follow actually coach ASCANIO on Instagram. So it's do you want me to put my tag on Instagram?
No, you can just say it, but people would, because it's a video, it would still be there. People would actually listen and go and find you. So
it's basically Coach with my first name.
Yeah, Coach ASCANIO.
Coach ASCANIO on Instagram. That's my life. That's my diary. People can follow that, and then they can, you know, communicate with me and you know, connect with me there. And that's the best way, because I usually will respond to all the messages and the comments that people leave.
Thank you so much, ASCANIO.
Thank you, Elvis.
So much for your intervention. And thank you, everyone watching. This has been a wonderful conversations in matters that would improve our lives, especially as we get into this new year. We want to become a new self. We want to become the best version of ourselves. We have the power. We have the ability to get there. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And we will see you next time on another Elvis Show. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye now.